What up? What up? Give a minute or two for people to hop in. Jasper, how you doing? I got the link here. If anybody wants to hop up, I can fit 6 people. We're gonna do an open panel tonight. Just shoot some, shit. Um, I got some stuff popped up we can look at as well. Um, yeah, I know the big topic of today has been the Trump assassination attempt. It's been flooding my feed on YouTube. Um, thanks, Joel. Katie, Howard, John, Jason, SC, David, Mason, Sauerkraut, Robert, Jasper, Canada, Brandon Mitchell. Good to see each and every one of you guys. THC Dad, yo. I hear you, THC Dad. Invalid request, how you doing? So I don't know how many of you saw Foshin's video last night. Foshin went over the Social Security case that we're fixing to go up against on Thursday. We'll be getting the verdict, so maybe a little bit later we can talk about that.
Hey, what's up, man? What's up, bro?
What's up, Sci-Fi?
Hey, Chili is out. Chili is free.
You know that
So,
that's the other half of my YouTube feed, Chili.
okay.
So yeah, big news. I guess
Yep,
you could say
yep.
I'm both fronts. Um, so that I think that conviction being overturned is a good thing for him. Um, so I'm happy that that happened. So hopefully he can go forward. I know that a lot of his claims in this lawsuit against the officers were dismissed already. So I know he's
Did
going to have
you
to.
did you
Huh?
watch the appeal court video?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, and there was a lot of valid points. That lawyer was actually pretty good.
Yeah, and probably even more so because Chili was his client and Chili has some knowledge of the law there as well. So um, your lawyer's only as good as the client that he's representing. A lot of times, if the client is ignorant of the law, and you go to a lawyer who may or may not be ignorant of the law, you're still
Exactly.
you're still taking a chance. These people, that lawyers, public defenders, or whatever, we hire them to do a service for us. So we need to guide them. We need to direct them in how we want our case to go. So when I talk to my lawyers, I tell them, I say, look, this is what it is. And sometimes they don't agree with me. My last federal public defender, I thought we were going to go to blows over the fact that he was telling
Yeah.
me that that I was lucky that people weren't suing me for using their image, and I'm like, holy hell, dude, what are you talking
Wow.
about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, and this guy was no dummy. He was smart. He'd won a lot of good cases, but he's just ignorant in this area of the law, which is what happens a lot of times is lawyers, they get specialized in certain areas, and for some reason they can't go into other areas and do that, and practice that. And um, that's why they even say that a lawyer has, who represents himself as a fool for a client. um, and why most lawyers hire lawyers when they go to court. It's not because they're not a lawyer themselves, um, but because the law
Exactly.
is so specialized, um, that you know, they got to focus on just the one aspect.
So
So
I saw that Blind Justice had a live that was posted. I don't know if I missed that or not, or if it's still coming up. But we still got some OGs out there putting in work.
Oh yeah, Blind Justice has been busy dealing with the court cases in North Carolina, which are still ongoing. Which most people would probably be shocked to learn. It's
Yeah,
not like he just dropped off the
yeah,
face of the planet.
right. No,
Um,
some of these cases take 3 to 5 years.
oh, easy, easy. So when this stuff is happening, that's what a lot of people um, don't understand about the work. They're always like, oh, you're doing this for clicks and views, and you're trying to get YouTube money. But there is no money in times like this. You know what I mean? Mike hasn't
Right,
earned
right.
a dollar off his channel in years, right? Because he's fighting these cases, and I'm guessing
Absolutely.
he doesn't want to get more charges while he's got these charges. And the same thing for me. I'm on probation, so if I go out and get arrested, which most people be like, oh yeah, well, you don't have to worry about it. But I mean, people have to realize the mindset, right? Here you got Rogue Nation, literally one of the most hated men in the Southeast United States, right? Made fools of so many cops and public officials publicly, and they realize that even just arresting me, no matter if the charges stick or not, all they have to do is arrest me, and I'm gonna go to jail for a year, guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's what's sad, when it's like a retaliatory thing, or whatever. They're just trying to, because they know you, they're just trying to get you for anything they possibly can. And usually it's BS.
Yeah. JJ dog, I don't know what
But
happened, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're not feeling well or up to the channel. Maybe you hit the subscribe button on accident, or maybe someone in your house did. I don't know. I do that sometimes if I'm over at a friend's house and I see their YouTube account open. I'll go and subscribe to myself. Now I'm just playing J Dog, but whatever the reasons, my friend, I hope you find your way. Thank you, sir. God bless you. Um, so yeah, I wanted to have a Saturday night live stream just to let people come up and talk about whatever topics. I knew
yeah,
Chili's.
right on.
Yeah, I knew Chili's. Conviction overturn would be a hot topic this week. Um,
Right.
Obviously, the Trump thing just happened a little bit ago, so I didn't know about
Yeah,
that.
wow. That was just, you know, it's kind of not a surprise. And the way he reacted and everything, I mean, it's totally, I think it's real. I don't know if he saw any of the footage or whatever, but it's still all coming out. But wow. Wow. 2024 election year again, getting real.
Yeah, yeah.
How's it going,
Well,
guys?
Real messed up.
we're not going to get political on the channel because I
No,
don't
that's
do that.
cool.
But
It's just
yeah,
a hot topic. I got you.
yeah. It just we're gonna add James Boy. I don't know who James Boy is. So like,
Hey, what's up, Rogue? Fruit
hey, what's
Toy.
going on?
How's it going, guys? Yeah, I just wanna. I'm a big fan, Rogue. I
What's
follow
up,
you.
Food
I watch
Toy?
your channel
All
from
right, Gamer.
Bermuda, and I
God bless.
just want to jump on here real quick and just say I like your channel. I like everything you do. You stand for. I'm a big fan. That's it.
Well, thank you, buddy. You're more than welcome to stay up here as long as you like. I mean, there's nobody coming up, so you got plenty of space
I
if you
was
want
just
to.
on Eli's channel with Fruit Toy. That's funny.
Oh yeah, love Eli.
Yeah, yeah.
He reached out to me while back, and he had done a track. God, I don't remember. I think it was Cop Watch,
Yeah, it's got a
or
few
yeah,
tracks out.
yeah. He reached out with a track, and I was like, "Yo, dude, that's fire." And I asked him, I'm like, "Can I put that in my video?" He was like, "Yeah." So in my Best of Rogue Nations Volume 1, 2, and 3, I use
Yeah.
that track as the intro. Um,
Nice.
yeah, and then
Are you
post.
talking about like music track?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eli. He does.
Oh
He does.
wow.
He does hip hop,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
before he.
I do a little bit too, and I've been thinking about getting back into it.
Yeah, well, he reached out to me before he started auditing. He used to watch me, and I
Yeah,
heard the
I
track.
love your content, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So yeah, me and Eli been I've never met the guy, so I dare say friends, but online we've known each other and been friends for a while. I loved his music. I put it on my stuff. He loved my stuff, and then he went
Right.
out, got and started doing it himself, and he's been doing great. I give him props. He's been doing awesome, especially in such a tough environment. You know what I mean? Like NYC is a tough environment,
Yeah.
specifically because of the lack of auditors. It's different than LA, which has 15 to 20 auditors that have been battering it for 10 years.
And how many more officers there are compared to a normal community, right?
Right, right. That as well. So, and I'm not up to date on the numbers of officers in the NYPD. Uh, but like for comparable situation, I know a couple years back, Chicago had, I believe, 15,000 police officers, and that's a city of around 3 million, 3.5 million in the Chicagoland area. So double that would be New York. So what, 30,000 officers?
The motherfucking people, Scott. Yeah, that's probably the one. Sorry. Yeah, I just want to big you up, Rogue Nation. I always watch you, and who else you always go out there? Is you and is it
Right,
I can't.
Crispy, James
Rice
Madison.
Krispie. Yeah, yeah. You guys demeanor, man. You guys is awesome, man.
Hey,
They
Captain
are
thanks.
Awesome.
awesome.
Yeah,
Captain
but
Awesome.
yeah,
Well,
man.
Florida represent.
I
Yeah,
live,
that's
He
right.
says his name is
I live in
Captain
UK.
Awesome.
I'm in the UK right now, but I'm from Bermuda, so
Okay, okay.
wanna
Yeah,
love from Bermuda and the UK.
I appreciate it, man. And believe me, I'm far from over. Just because I'm kind of laying low, that's just for family purposes at the moment. But there's
Yeah.
going to come a time that won't hopefully be too far off that my obligations will be more in line, and I'll be able to step out. And yeah, it's definitely far from over. There's actually a lot of big stuff coming up. Audit Palooza is going to be in October, but also there's talk of some of us doing like a tour, like a month or two.
You know what would be
Different
awesome?
guys on different legs of it. What's that?
A cross country First Amendment audit with all like a group of you guys. That would be wicked. That would be
Hey,
awesome.
Rice Krispies in the chat.
Oh shit, Rice Krispie.
Good to see you, Rice.
You got to come up, brother.
Oh yeah, right.
Unless yeah, unless he's
all
busy.
you auditors, I'm a big fan because you guys helped me learn how to speak to law enforcement. So.
Absolutely. When the thing about it is knowing what you're talking about. When you know what you talk about.
Sorry to cut you off, but you know what you're talking about too. Every time you just hold your ground and your composure, and you're well spoken. So yeah, I'm not gonna cut you off anymore. Yeah.
No, you're fine, brother, man. It's confidence. You know what I mean?
Right,
Because
and that's what it's about. It's about knowing what you're doing before you go out and do it. Right? You got to have some
You're
kind of
right.
knowledge of the law, and right, Rogue. You got to whatever the situation is, whether you're going into a public building,
That's right. No, it's absolutely right.
From state to state. I just watched Hendry video where he was in the public forum and there was a stairwell going downstairs and they called the police. They came, they said, yeah, you're okay, you can film here, but don't go downstairs anymore. Well, there's no signs or nothing like that. And all of a sudden they came back and said, did you go downstairs? Like they were going, what do you, like there's a spanking or something coming, you know what I mean? Because there's no law. There's nothing posted, so it's still a public, it's open to the public.
Yeah.
Did you all see that from Hendry?
No, I missed that one.
Just missed it.
I got into auditing about 3 or 4 years ago. This like around Corona. Probably just a year before Corona. I don't know if
What's
it's
your
like
channel
that.
name?
I don't. Oh, sorry. I'm not actually an auditor. I've been following like Rice Krispie, Rogue Nation, Johnny 50, Sam Wakeem. I just got binge watched. I just got obsessed with it. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just.
I think everybody does though. Really,
Yep.
I know I did.
For me, it was.
You can't just stop on one auditor. You have to just keep on going, right? Just exploring.
For me,
everybody.
it was High Desert Community Watch, and a little bit of NC Tyrant Hunter.
Yeah, and this guy Sean Thomas in New York. I think he was probably the first one I saw, and how he was just like slaughtering these pigs. I was just like, sheesh, because sometimes you don't know how to talk to police, and when you watch these auditors, I started learning about my own laws and how
for life.
my own rights and everything. So thank all auditors for sparking that thought of learning about my fundamental rights.
I hope you get the spark to join us and not let us.
Yeah, I'm heavy on Eli's channel, so I tell him, look, I'm gonna come to New York and I'd like to audit with you one day, because it's that your heart starts pounding and you're nervous about auditing, and I need to get past that stage. I need to be around people like you guys. You know what I mean? I need to be around the actual people that is out there doing it, and maybe I'll get courage from you guys.
Hey, Leslie Sylvan is in the chat.
Oh, hey, Leslie.
That is our Athena. I like to call her our.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Rice Krispie right there.
Oh man.
I got the cookbooks.
You know what? I'm sorry, guys.
You want to talk about a freedom fighter?
I'm like starstruck of it because you guys don't even know. I just binge watch all you guys channels. I even comment. I'm James 1990. I always comment in you guys videos all the while, but big fan, Rice Krispie and all that. I like the silent treat. Was it you that does the silent treatment?
I've never.
I got a couple of videos.
I did attempt.
Sci-fi.
I think it's a Johnny 50 thing, James.
No, I do silent audits.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one time the cop was there, and I think it was Johnny 50 and someone, and they was just conversating while the cop was there. She's like, "You guys, I'm standing right here," and they was just casually just having a conversation. I was like, "That's fucking awesome, right there."
No, that was a classic. That'll be referenced 50 years from now. People will be like, "Oh yeah, that's a classic."
He's been doing it again. He just went up. Johnny 50 went up to New Jersey and did it with Wolfie Gladly. They were talking about, what is it, Moe's Cantina or Chipotle. They were talking about going to Chipotle in front of these airport cops who were like, "Hey," and the cops got upset. The cops wanted to talk to them. They were like, "Hey," and these kids, Johnny 50. Oh, my kids just saw their mom get home.
But kudos to you guys, man, for doing that, because that takes a lot to stand up against tyranny, and you guys are putting your lives out there,
You've got good taste in auditors, James.
Respect to you guys.
These guys are awesome.
Got me started in this. I got your back, man. He's got to go to court on Thursday, so send good vibes out to him, man. Major League.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You guys attend all those town hall meetings too, right? That's important, I think, because I don't know if it makes a difference, but you definitely have a board of a panel of board people that you can express yourself to, and if they make much of a difference.
You know, lawsuits make a difference too.
Yeah, but don't the people
Probably
pay?
most, right?
They do. And they're going to be feeling the pain more and more because auditing Erie County. I don't know if I'm sure a lot of you folks do.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
follow him as well. So we already know that he's filing a suit or already has filed a suit against Schenectady for their unlawful ordinance. And I filed one against Easley, South Carolina, for their ordinance. Once one of those go through, I mean, they're gonna start falling like dominoes, right? Because once we get that established, it's going to be a lot harder for them to get these ordinances passed. But Florida has specifically about 5 places, maybe more, that have some type of ordinance like this where they're trying to restrict us. Gulfport, Florida, which
Right.
I've already served a notice to sue on them. We've got Lake County, Indiana, that has an ordinance like that. Punta Gorda, Charlotte County. The Pasco County tax collector has a policy of no recording in their office. The Orlando City Hall has a policy of no recording in the City Hall. There's another one too. West Palm Beach.
It's almost become to the point of where, it started out as we're auditors, of the First Amendment, but now we're actually auditors of the government, and we're making
public servants, right?
We're making the government accountable.
And Rogue Nation said a whole bunch of agencies right now. Said West Palm Beach, a whole bunch of those cities, and every one that you mentioned, we've had big problems with. We've had big problems trying to get records from them. We've had big problems with, like, West Palm Beach, Acura-Amanda. You know about that? And you just said county, and that's where Hammond, Indiana is, in Lake County, Indiana, right?
Yeah, but I was talking about Lake County, Florida. But you're right. Hammond, Indiana is in Lake County, Indiana, which is one of the most corrupt places in the country.
You said Lake County, Indiana. That's why I was like, yeah.
Right. Right. Lake County, Indiana is right next to Chicago. It butts up against Chicago, Illinois. It's got Gary, Indiana there. It is literally one of the most corrupt areas of the country.
Yeah. I've been to Gary. You don't want to be there.
I'm wondering, do lawsuits work because they failed at their job? Their job, in their eyes, is to take our money, right? When you sue, you're taking the money back. I know it's the people's money at the end of the day, but that's not how they see it. They see it as the people's money they've got their hands on, and with lawsuits, you're taking a bit of that.
Right, and they're going to charge the people more, and they're always going to do that without suits or not, right? The government's always going to grow. It's always going to gorge itself more and more and more. If you are into exponential growth, you can look at the growth of government, and you can see the hockey stick graph chart of defeat. Right, I guess you could say, because at some point you can't go no higher, right?
Yeah.
So, and again, that's sort of like where our debt is right now for America. It's a hockey stick graph that's just to the moon, So, at some point, yes, but more, more importantly, I think. Is that, and this is if the activists that get the money do the correct thing with it. Some of them might go and buy video games or a game room or something, but if you got somebody that takes that money that they get from that lawsuit and reinvests it in, like, maybe holding a community workshop where they're teaching citizens something, or giving back to the community in some way, such as that. I mean, not that they shouldn't spend their money on whatever they want, but you can really tell where a person's heart is at in doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? If they have money, how do they spend it? Did they help use that to get another auditor out of jail or hire a lawyer, or did they?
Harvey Freebird did. Harvey Freebird bailed out Carolina and Fort Worth after that cop slammed her on the ground and broke her orbital bone, smashed her face, knocked her out.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, shout out to Harvey Freebird, man. That dude's doing great work out in Texas.
Oh, all those guys are Harvey, Manuel, Caroline. I mean, all of them. Ninja, Galveston Island, Transparency. I don't want to keep naming. I'm the thing about naming is that sometimes I forget somebody who shouldn't be forgotten, and I feel bad. And, you know, makes them feel like I slighted them. So I don't like to do that.
Speaking of which, one more. Alexa, set a reminder to subscribe to Wrights Crispy on YouTube. that was a nice one. There are 45 people watching.
That's pretty funny.
You know, Rogue, like maybe I didn't get into it enough there. You know, technically it's the people's money, but they've got it in their hands. And if they don't spend it, they're not going to give it back to the people. I mean, they've got it.
Right. Absolutely.
In their hands, right? So basically it's the people's money, but basically it's in their control.
Right. Absolutely.
So when you take it, when you sue them and win a suit and you take it from them, you're not really taking it from the people. You're taking it from out of their control, right?
You know, I didn't say hello to you, my brother, Futoy.
Hey, right.
Rich in the chat, he's one of your members, Rich Spillman. He said, Harvey, he did that. You dropped your pocket. He did that on this one sergeant, and they threw him in the back of a cop car. News Now Ninja called that sergeant's captain and somehow got Harvey Freebird taken out of the backseat of the car. But that's what Harvey won that $10,000 for, and he used that money to pay for Carolina and Fort Worth. But when that happened, he told that sergeant, hey, you dropped your pocket. There was another cop who grabbed his camera and shut it off. That's the same cop that beat up those 16-year-olds at that pool party just recently. Same cop. You know, and it's like we keep going back to the same places. There's attention that they keep asking for. You know?
Yeah.
But hello to everyone in here. Thanks, Rogue, for having me on. And hello to everyone in the chat now and in the future.
Hello. Yeah, I've been subscribed to your Wrights Crispy.
Thanks, man.
What's that? What's that one used to have Rogue Nation too? It was Jim Carrey, the SNL, said, "We got a bigger threat, guys. The man with the camera." And that's an old clip, right?
Yeah. We were just talking about how Rogue Nation's kind of stuck in the 90s. He'll always say, like, homie, don't play that.
Gen X like me. With Gen X,
that's awesome. You guys got young spirits too, man. So that's what makes it even more awesome too.
Yeah, no, it's about you know, when I go out, I like to have fun as well, and not have fun like an idiot and goof off all day, but you know, just enjoy good people's company and good people's conversation. You know,
absolutely. Life is short.
Yep.
So, enjoy every minute.
Yeah, man.
I must, you know, tell you what happened to my brother and his wife. They were riding their motorcycles. They were on separate bikes, and some bitch crossed the center line and took them out.
Oh,
and she ended up losing 2 limbs on her left side, man. This happened last Saturday.
Wow.
I can't even ride my bike. I can't even ride my bike right now. So, you know what I'm saying? Love the one you with. I mean, holy shit. My brother had a shattered leg. It was like, I'm trying to, it's the balance bone. What is it? The femur? Anyway, it was broken 2 different places, and they drilled through all the bones, Rogue, and it was like a shish kebab. They just put all the bones through the titanium rod and fix his leg. But yeah,
Sheesh.
yeah, man, I can't even ride my bike. I started it today and I thought about it, but I'll tell you what, man, they did everything. They weren't doing anything wrong, just riding down the road, and some
that's what I try to
stupid
tell
person, cross the center line. That's it.
People, sometimes it's not even your fault.
Hey, on that happy note, I gotta go.
Hey,
wow. Bam. Thank you, man.
No, that's my little brother. You know what I'm saying? That's my little brother, but it's not a happy note at all. But
no, I know, man, and I'm sorry, but I do gotta go. Hey,
right on. Thank you for that.
See you later, right?
Take care, brother.
Man.
Later, buddy.
Yeah,
who's that?
Sci-fi guy.
How's it going, man?
Right. You guys, right? I'm from a little island, Bermuda, right? So all we do is ride motorcycles, right, and cars, but they drink a lot, and sometimes the innocent suffer for the guilty because you got a bunch of drunk people driving around, and that's a pandemic, man. And you see like 3 or 4 crashes, and we're only 21 square miles wide, long, right? We're only 21 square miles and 1 mile wide, so we're a tiny island. Everyone knows everyone. So a little population of 68,000 people, and I would say probably more than half drink. They get fucked right up.
Just say you killed somebody or somebody died because of your drinking driving. Could you ever forgive yourself? Like,
yeah, well, I know people that have done that, and they have to live with it.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah.
That's no lie.
You just have to live.
Well, I mean, if you really think about it, we're stepping on insects all day, every day. So what's the difference between an insect and a cat or a dog or a human, right?
Well, that's a very Buddhist way of looking at it.
Well, some people just don't have any remorse over doing it. They do it and say, "Oh, whatever. I'll just
and
get in the car again and do it again," and they don't care. They don't have remorse.
Yeah, until they
that's
go jail.
Crazy. That's like a psychic, a mental problem.
Look,
when it comes to when you say stepping on bugs and all that, we do that unconsciously. We don't see them. We don't, you know what I mean? And when you do step on, you're like, "Oh shit! I stood on a whirly-pearly, or I stood on."
Drive over frogs on the road. I hit a turtle or a skunk.
Yeah.
It's the same idea.
I was riding my motorcycle, and a chicken came out of nowhere.
It was just a stupid comment to make you think. We have bugs in our bodies eating shit right now. Whether you have the right bugs or the wrong bugs is the question. But
we're gonna.
It was just a comment.
Yep. And we're gonna hop off the bug's life and get back to talking about some other stuff here. And what we're going to talk about is me and Futoy. Futoy had raised a question. Are these lawsuits doing any good? And Six Oaks once again has produced evidence that sometimes this stuff does work to maybe not totally change their actions, but get them to wake up.
Right, and I got a thought. As far as how long it takes sometimes for these lawsuits, bro. It could take up to 2 to 5 years, right? And it's hard work.
Well, they do that stuff and they'll slow you down so that way it'll drag it on and on and on that you'll just go away. And that's their mentality when it comes to this stuff.
But they want you to plead.
Right? Well, they do that specifically because most people have lawyers and lawyers cost money. And so if they drag it out, you're paying a lawyer
for your pocket.
Oh yeah,
right,
you're retaining.
for 10 years.
Yeah.
But they could drag it out as long as they want when they're
Sure.
doing it pro se, because it don't cost me nothing to exist, you know. And so when they send a motion or you know something and I have to answer it, I could reply then. Meanwhile, I'm out shopping, I'm going to the beach, you know, I'm petting the dogs and sniffing the flowers. Yeah, and I don't have to worry about it. But you know that's like a remnant of that system of you know the lawsuit, is because they're like, hey, these guys have a lawyer. It's going to cost them a lot of money. This is a small violation. We only, you know, unlawfully identified them. So not very many lawyers are going to take the case even to begin with, because the chances of getting anything more than, say, $3,000 to $5,000 is highly unlikely.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
let's
it's gonna
talk a little about the time period that you can sue, because isn't it like different for each state or whatever? Like it's like because I know when I got arrested and then it was dismissed, I had 1 year to be able to sue civilly, or you know what I'm trying to say. Can you touch a little bit on that?
Yeah, it goes according a 1983 suit. The statute of limitations to file one, it goes by the state in which the violation occurred. So, it goes with their personal injury statute of limitation. So, in Florida, you have 4 years to file a personal injury lawsuit. So, for a 1983 suit in Florida, you have 4 years to file. In Georgia, you have 2 years to file for a personal injury lawsuit. So in Georgia, you only have 2 years to file for a 1983 suit as well. So whatever state the incident occurred in, whatever the statute of limitations is for filing a personal injury lawsuit, that will be how long you have to file your 1983 suit.
Thanks.
And they're doing it, and they're fighting you with your money at the same time. So they're taking money from everybody else and then fighting you because they realize, oh wow, look at these people. We'll just fight them with their money, and it's no big deal. It's not our money.
Do cops pay taxes? Because you always hear when they say, "Oh yeah, there's the tax dollars," and then you hear the cops say, "Well, I pay taxes too." How does
they get it back?
They pay taxes off our taxes.
Yes. Yeah. So I equate it to like this, right? So let's say you own a deli in New York City, right? You own this deli, and every week the mob comes in and they say, hey, you know, you owe us $450 or your place is going to burn down, right? So you give them the $450, you know, you don't want your place to close down. And then he takes some of that money and he turns around and he buys a sandwich off you from your deli.
Yeah. Now you're
did you really earn that money? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's sort of the same way of cops. Right. That's sort of the same way of cops saying, yeah, I pay taxes. No, what you do is you rob the people and then you use money from that robbery to pay. You know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah. See, that's why I like you, because you always explain things you speak my language when you explain shit. Like, so. You're like an encyclopedia when it comes to the law.
Well, he's a great understanding of law.
Yeah, you know, if we talk, like, I just, honest, it's something about Reg that it's one of my top 5 auditors.
But majorly awesome.
Top 3.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite part of the intros. Charges is when it says there's that lady. She goes, awesome. Yeah, it says that he's Mr. Awesome or whatever.
No, it's
Captain Awesome.
Captain Awesome. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Says
when
balls deep. No, balls deep. That's what.
it's funny, right? Let me tell you a little story. We were out in Texas a few years ago. I'm sure most of you remember. We went out there right after Uvalde, and we were at San Antonio, and we went up to Austin and everything. Well, we were out at Lackland Air Force Base, I think it was, or one of the military bases there around San Antonio. And we're out there filming, me, Ordinary County, News Now Ninja, a couple other people. Yeah, and we were out there filming, and this guy, he's on the base side, and he comes running over to our side, and he comes up, and he's like, man, can I get your autograph? And he's asking me, and I'm thinking of myself, what the hell do these guys think I am, an idiot, right? You know what I mean? Like, no, you can't get my autograph, dude. I'm not an idiot, right? And then he says to me, he goes, oh, yeah, I watch all you guys. He goes, balls deep. I said, give me that damn napkin. I'll give you my autograph. There you go, buddy.
We need a print shirt to say balls deep.
Yeah.
The I believe is great. When she says his name is Captain Awesome and starts to laugh, that's the best part.
Yeah. I didn't know that you. I thought it was just like a cop watch thing, and then I started watching the auditors. Like
that was
a public
the 911
service
call.
So,
that was her calling in, like 911. That was it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, from the Ocala, or not the Ocala, excuse me. It was from the Osceola County Health Department visit that I did there, where the officer come up there and was like, "What are you doing here? Why do you got the camera in my face?" You know, that doofy as hell mofo. So, yeah.
Can I just hop in here for a second? I just wanted to take I was going to jump in and say something to Rights Crispy. I've been watching you guys, the old Bang Media Group. I watched all of you guys for years and years. Jeff Gray, all the Florida guys, the old Texas guys and Cali guys, Tulare, and all those guys.
Tulare. Yeah.
Oh my God, man, I go way back on this stuff. My friends used to razz me. I say, go on there and watch. I want to watch it. He goes into, what do I want to watch that for? And now they watch more stuff than I watch.
My girlfriend would be like, "You're watching this First Amendment auditors, aren't you?" It's like, why not?
Yeah, I watch every day. Every day, I check everybody's channel every day. And I used to kind of think like, yeah, it's bad, until I started watching those videos and I realized, wow, this place.
No, but I thought it was just cop watching, and then it's really public servants, government officials, anybody that earns a public dime. So that really taught me that too. So
gives you a different view when you start to see how your employees conduct themselves, and now you start to see how mismanaged it is.
And then I educated myself on Bermuda Constitution, because we have one. So I just read it, and ever since I read it and I understood it, no police fuck with me. But before I even thought about like the Constitution and watching you guys, I used to get
right on. Yeah.
Supporting people who are fighting for our rights makes a whole lot of sense to me. You know what I mean? Being against people who are fighting for my rights doesn't make sense to me at all. Like,
well, the thing is, they don't want us to know what our rights are. And they want to be able to keep manipulating us and control us, to tell us whatever, in every traffic stop, to control us, sit on the curb and sit on the hood of the car and all this stupid bullshit, right?
Well, it's done in an authoritative way to show dominance.
Don't be a menace. Don't be a menace. Like, all right, strike a pose. And they start making them do all sorts of shit. Like, all right, stand on one foot, hop on one foot, rub your stomach, and pet your head. They make you do all sorts. That's crazy.
A lot of them police with their ego, instead of the law. Like, but when we don't watch them, look what the things that they say. They said to Long Island 20 years ago he would have been found out with his teeth missing.
Sure,
Is that right? So is that what happens when we don't watch you?
Yeah, he said 20 years ago the guy's teeth would have been knocked out of his mouth or whatever how he said it. And he was saying it because he thought that nobody would listen to him and no one would ever hear that camera.
Yeah. Well, the whole point of the teeth missing is that's how you can identify somebody. So if you do away with somebody and you take away their fingerprints and their teeth, you can no longer identify them.
It's scary how they don't get disciplined for that. They should do psychiatric evaluations on cops every 3 to 6 months. Me personally.
It's what happens when we don't watch them, right? When there's nobody keeping an eye on them.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember that commercial. The whole camera industry now, everything is so small and easy to carry and goes a long time.
Everybody has a camera in their pocket.
Yeah, and that stuff wasn't around 20 years ago. So things were happening that we never saw and never knew about.
That's right.
It's an eye-opening now. Now there's millions of people seeing this stuff every day, and they're like, "What the hell is this?" I've never seen anybody, and people get angry and call them, or people show up and start to do it themselves, and then they realize, whoa, now accountability starts to come into it. Where you're expecting these people to conduct themselves a certain way and have a certain demeanor about, and now you get to see really how things are. And that's the thing that opened my eyes. I grew up in the city. I always knew everything was bad. But I didn't realize that bad.
Sorry, what's this, Rogue?
Well, I always like to include some kind of learning aspect. So I thought I would go over this tonight with everybody while we were, just sitting around talking. But, a lot of times when we're in these places, we hear about the confidential information, right? And what they're talking about in these instances are people's names, birthdays, social security numbers, addresses, phone numbers, you name it, right? That kind of stuff they're talking about is confidential information and how it violates their privacy. So this is from hold on, let me go and scroll up, see if you guys can see it. This is from the Office of Privacy and Civil Liberties, U.S. Department of Justice. It's the overview of the Privacy Act. And right here, it says a disclosure of information from a non-record source does not violate the Privacy Act's disclosure provision. The disclosure. What happened?
I don't know if it was me or it's lagging a bit.
No.
Am I lagging?
Not lagging for me.
It's probably me.
Okay. All right, let me finish this real quick. But it says the disclosure of information acquired from non-record sources such as observation, like when we're in there videoing, office emails, discussion with coworkers, and the rumor mill does not violate the Privacy Act, even if the information disclosed is also contained in agency records. And go a little bit further down, it says for a disclosure to be covered by Section 552AB, there must have initially been a retrieval from the system of records, which was at some point a source of the information. So in order for us, from what this is saying, in order for us to violate somebody's privacy and thus the Privacy Act, we would have to go into their record source, which would be like if we went around the counter, hopped on the computer, and hacked into their server where their records are kept.
Or a book.
Right. Or if a employee retrieved records from the government agency server, put it on a flash drive, and then gave it to us,
then
that would
be guilty also.
Right, they would also be guilty. But those are the kinds of acts that would indicate a disclosure of information. So me and in the lobby over here in the the Drew Carey Mimi assistant yelling, Futoy Jones, Social Security number, blah blah blah, and me hearing that or even capturing it on video is not a violation of the Privacy Act.
Yeah, because you're where you're supposed to be, and you're allowed to do that in that area. If somebody yelled it out,
But
you would
it's
say,
up to them,
plain
right?
view.
It's up to them to hide it, right?
Yeah.
It's up to them to hide it, but even that, all they have to hide is the record source, right? The server. They could talk about it, especially let's say they don't know about it. They could talk about it. That's what the rumor mill type mention there was talking about. As long as they didn't pull that information from the source, right? So as long as Betsy, the secretary, didn't go into somebody's personal file and say, "Oh my God, did you know Mr. Jones has got gonorrhea?"
Yep.
You know what I mean? That would be a disclosure of information from a record source, right? So, me walking around with a camera and the secretary, just blabbering out your information does not violate the Privacy Act. And even more than that, it doesn't. It's not illegal in any way, shape, or form, right? Think about this. Think if you had 10 enemies, right? Let's say you hated these 10 people, right? Whoever they may be, let's say you're a Democrat and you hate Trump, right? Or you're Republican and you hate Joe Biden, right? Imagine just going up to either one of those men and saying, Social Security number. Bam! Now they're arrested. You know what I mean? You see the stupidity in that? Like, I would just roll around to people I hated and say, "Hey, bro, here's my SS." I just hand them a piece of paper. And then I'd have the cops come in. Woo, swat them, bam. Oh, dude, it's illegal. He's got my information, bro. It's a violation of my privacy, yo.
Authority people have been caught using systems and all kinds of that they shouldn't have and got information on people. There's been tons of arrests on that.
Right.
Authority figures.
Right. No, the DMV sold like $77 million worth of Florida drivers' information in the last couple of years. There was a news story they did about it. Yeah, to bill collectors and stuff like that. That's why when you move, and you have bill collectors that are looking after you, even if you don't change your address with the bill collector, as soon as you change that license over,
post office.
Yeah, pretty soon you start
Security
getting
office.
Yep, you start getting mail from them again.
Redoing your tax form, that would be it too.
I'm not sure if this is relevant for America, but there was an English auditor and he filmed some document with people's private information on them, and then he uploaded it to YouTube, and he did get charged for the upload, not for the filming, but for the uploading it to YouTube.
Yeah, because it's disclosure.
I haven't got an update, so I don't know how the court case went, but he did get charged for it. Like, would that happen in America, or is it different, or?
What's the situation again? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention, Futu. I had something else going on.
No, you're good. So there was an English auditor, and he filmed some documents with private information on it, somebody's information on it that some one of the institutes left out, right? But then he uploaded it to YouTube, and he showed the information onto YouTube. So he got charged for showing the information, not for filming it, but for actually showing it on YouTube.
Right. I mean, that could happen in America. I mean, we do have like doxing laws. So, for example, if I was to run across a sheet, with a list of officers' names and home addresses on it, and I showed that on my channel, I think that would give them, probable cause to arrest me for doxing.
Okay.
we're not allowed, or and at least in some states, maybe not all, but we're not allowed to publish that information for fear of retaliation, obviously from criminals that they supposedly
Yeah.
put behind bars. But as we all really know, it's to face retaliation from citizens who they've ruined their lives. You know what I mean? So that's the real story.
Yeah.
But the story we get is that these criminals don't know where we live and stuff like that, which again is true. But I mean,
That's the big go-to. That's the big go-to when they say,
Right.
"Well, people's information is over here." Oh, you're looking in that direction. Well, don't look that way. It's like, oh, wait, are you kidding me?
right.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as oh my God, there's kids you can't film over
Yeah,
here, and I'm
Yeah.
You see, that's what I was thinking. Like I was thinking, wait, the information has already been leaked. You're re-leaking. Really, you're not leaking because it's already been leaked. They shouldn't have left it out for anybody to see. But then I remember something from the post office, like you can record, but you can't record people putting in their social security numbers. And then I remember one of the others saying, but that's not a crime to catch that. It's what you do with that number.
Yes.
That's
Right.
the problem.
Right, and that's absolutely true as far as that goes. And again, this is how the system is actually backwards, right? Because the citizens get none of the protection of that, right? Like I could go yelling and screaming everybody's address all over YouTube all day long, and nothing would pretty much happen to me. But as soon as I do it to a government agent, I'm persecuted. I'm
Right.
thrown into jail. I've done this atrocious thing, and these people could die. You know what I mean? Like, it's a shame. I think that people are afraid to actually even live anymore, right? Because
Stop violating HIPAA laws. What's wrong with you?
oh Jesus, man,
You didn't get my consent to film.
Yeah.
yeah, I love that one.
Well, back in Bermuda, we have 7 police officers suspended while under investigation, right? And check this out. They had 3 officers suspended on full pay since March 2021 for matters of gross misconduct and criminality. They've been suspended since 2021, getting paid. That I never got that suspension with pay thing. It's like take a holiday. Go ahead, man. We'll pay you, man. Go ahead. You're being under investigation right now.
It's kind of an incentive to be a bad cop, isn't it? If I be a bad cop, I don't have to go to work and I still get paid.
It really is. There was a story of this officer that was suspended for like a year during this investigation with pay. And then as soon as he came back to the department, he was suspended again for like another year or 2 years. It was insane. It was like literally 2 or 3
Why
years.
did they pay him, though?
Well, I don't know. Probably because it's not their money. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah, and check that out. They pay him,
I mean-
and then until the investigation is found whether they're guilty or innocent, right? What happens when they're guilty? And you pay them
Nothing.
for a whole year.
they don't have to pay you back.
Yeah,
That's your money.
Tax dollars, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole that's the whole scam of the thing.
You're suing yourself when you win.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You're suing everybody in your town, and not to everybody's pissed off at
It's
you.
almost like a
because
club
now
hand.
They
It's
go
your
around
time
and
for the club hand.
reassess everybody's land so they could recoup the money.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, somebody called me the other day, a gentleman, I don't know how many people remember Eyes on the State. He's still around here and there, but me and him used to go out a lot a few years back. He was in a lot of my videos, but he called me the other day, and he had requested the credit card records for the city of St. Pete, and he called me up to discuss some of them, and just incredible. First off, for the month, they spent $1.6 million on their credit card. And
Wow.
there's a lot of charges on there that are, just suspicious in nature,
Sketchy.
of course, right? You know, and the same with some of mine. One recent one that I went over had a charge to like Scuba Pro or something, like a scuba shop. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking to myself, what in the hell is you paying this for a scuba thing? But I mean, sometimes what you think is suspicious can be explained. Like maybe that's a fireman that's doing underwater training. You know what I mean? For
Out
like,
at the sea.
well, right? Maybe he's training to bust people out of cars that have gone in the lakes and
Yeah.
rivers. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
there really is sometimes explanations for stuff that shouldn't be there, but the level at which these spendings is occurring and the amount of oversight of these things, because I mean, literally, I did Gainesville Regional Utility, which is the electric company in Gainesville, Florida, and they're in debt. I don't remember if it's like 7 million or 70 million, but the bottom line is they're in debt, and it's a good percentage of their debt against their assets. And I went in and I requested their credit card statements, which I got. I went over the credit card statements and I found some very suspicious activity on there. And remember, these guys are already like, 4, 7 million, however many millions in debt. Okay. It's multiple millions of dollars in debt. And they're being investigated by the state. And they're still out there spending money on their credit cards. Like, it's, it's,
And are you to post those records that you requested?
what's that?
Are you allowed to post those records that you
Public.
like, or the credit card spendings and all that on your
Public.
channel? See.
Yeah, I'm going to eventually get around to posting those because I requested the receipts for some of the charges so I could dig a little further into it. And they told me, I believe it was going to be $236 for them to get the receipts.
Big piece. It must be
Make
big.
sure you
Pack of
receipt.
paper. It
Yeah.
must be a big report.
Yeah, because I think if the people see that, right, or that spending unnecessary, or any of that suspicious spending, hopefully it will open people's eyes up and wake them the fuck up, right?
Right. I need someone to jump down so KFN can jump on real quick because he's been in the basement
I'll
for a
jump
minute.
down.
All
All
right,
right,
James.
nice
Yeah,
talking to you, Rug.
Let's go with James.
All right,
Hey,
fellas.
nice one, James.
anytime, buddy. Well, I guess somebody else jumped down, but we'll add KFN up in here. Kentucky Freedom News. How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad. It's Kansas, by the way.
It is Kansas. I knew I'd messed up somehow there.
It's all right.
Good to see you, sir. Good to see you.
I appreciate it, and I just want to say thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We appreciate and we should appreciate each and every one of us, folks that are out there, holding their government accountable, no matter if it's a city council meeting, if it's an audit, if it's a cop watch. I mean, I hosted a video last week of some older lady. She had to be, a grandmother at a city council meeting, and man, she was giving it to them, right? And
That's right.
and when people realize that there's other people out there like-minded who are sick and fed up with this stuff and who are actually out there doing stuff, that helps give people the gumption to hey, maybe I should get out there and look at my own place, and see what's going on. And I've got a little bit of free time. We all have free time, right? Let's be honest, right? We all have 24 hours in a day, no matter how rich or how poor you are. life is cruel in the fact that you can't buy more time, right? So we all have the same amount of time. We're all rich in time, depending on how we spend that time. We could spend that time. We could play Xbox. We could argue with idiots. There's lots of ways that we could spend that time, or we could read a book and educate ourselves, or we could attend city council meetings and find out what's going on within our city, or we could spend time at a homeless thing, helping feed the homeless, or helping other people in society. Um, or you could do a lot of other stuff. It's not to say, but time is our most valuable possession. So I like to spend my time with like-minded individuals with a patriotic streak, that like to make sure that when they pass on, that future generations of their family members are going to be
Keeper of the flame.
right in a position to where they're not going to have to worry about Saddam Hussein's sons, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a big burden. It's passed down, and that's just what it is.
Absolutely.
Hey, I have a question, a topic. Hello,
yes.
hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Rogue, thanks for letting me on. You were mentioning, and I think I mentioned this to you on a panel a few weeks ago about Guerrilla Publishing finding out in Oklahoma he would go in and ask for the last 10 cases in the courthouse for, I think it was that excessive force was used or something. And when they handed him the paperwork, it still had everybody's social security numbers, addresses,
Yeah.
height. And when he brought it to the attention of the DA's office, they called the police on him.
Yeah, they're the ones that gave him the information.
Yeah, got to remember.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it. Dude,
He's in trouble. How?
I
the person that gave it to him.
Dude, I tell you, like, if we wouldn't record some of this shit, like, nobody would ever believe it, and that's part of the reason why I picked up the camera too, is because I guess I'm the kind of guy that wants to find out, right? So if people have said all the time that police are corrupt and the government's corrupt and all this stuff's going on behind the scenes and whatnot, whatever, and you want to find out, then you start looking into stuff, and just the force that they use in trying to
stop you from seeing it,
right, to dissuade us from doing this. The amount of trolls online, which you can be guaranteed are filled with government agents, and the penalties they try to impose, and the intimidation factors and all this other stuff, shows me that I'm on the right path. And the stuff that I've uncovered so far have been as bad as any story I've ever heard, and worse, right? So and that's not just stuff uncovered by me. That's just stuff that's been coming out more and more recently, because I think even though the mainstream news isn't going to focus on that, there's stuff that no longer could be ignored like it was ignored 20 years ago, right? So, like, the Goon Squad in Mississippi, like, they had to report on that shit now. You know what I mean? If not, somebody else would. And they have to try to maintain some level of credibility, and they can't do that if YouTubers are out there busting all the major stories, because they want to try to keep a good relationship with the government. So I think there's definitely been a lot of change, and a lot of progress. It's just sometimes it's hard to see Sometimes we're only looking for specific indicators, and sometimes we don't realize that there's stuff that we don't even see. Like nobody sees the amount of people that email me and say thank you, or you sometimes you see it when somebody like Jonesy there did for a minute, jumped on the panel, said, "Brogue, I've been watching you forever. Thank you. I learned my rights. Now I'm more confident, and I keep my cops in check where I live." You see that one or two people on the panel, but it's been hundreds literally over the years, maybe 1,000 emails from
thousands of people, I'd say.
right, that have contacted me and told me this, and some of them have gone as far as Jonesy, to where he's keeping his guys in check and his way on his location, and then you got like Stop Injustice, who is that grandmother out in Phoenix, Arizona, who's video recorded her interactions that went viral on my channel. Like one of my best videos is from Stop Injustice, who was a subscriber of mine, learned her rights and then exercised them, and just totally shut down this police captain, this police chief. So
yeah, it's interesting and ironic, about the personal information getting released by the courthouse, because that's the first thing they'll come at auditors with is, "Oh, we're protecting personal information," and here they are just handing it out willy nilly.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. Great job. Give them a raise.
One thing that I thought was interesting, there's an auditor in Washington, I Am Free, and one of his videos, he went to the commander of the State Police Training Academy, and he asked her, set up a formal interview, and ask what materials are being used to train officers, and the difference between, public trespassing and private trespassing, and the basics of RAS, and just a bunch of different questions. Of course, a lot of them she couldn't answer about the training materials, but she promised to set up another meeting and get with him to have answers to those. And I thought that was a pretty good idea to go straight to the source, because he had about an hour of stuff he was asking this commander of the academy. And of course, she was like, well, they have to learn a lot, and there are supplemental courses after they get out. And one of the supplemental books talks about trespassing, but it doesn't break it down into public and private trespassing. So there's a lot of gaps in the information that the officers have, and lack of training and things of that nature. So it was really good to see him take it to her. It kind of reminds me of a Bay Area transparency, where he can just spit code and hold them to the law, and he never gets upset, but he stands his ground.
Yeah, that's inland auditing.
Yep,
that's who that is.
Yeah, I really like his channel.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the follow-up video where the commander actually gets back with him. She sounded like she probably would, but and then a few minutes ago, Six Oaks was posting a link about the insurance companies dropping and that was interesting, because I'm close to Nashville, but the link he put on there it goes to the news channel, but it's a dead link. I need to research that and find out more about it, because I've heard Tyrant Terminator talking about he just goes ahead and contacts the insurance company when their deductible goes from $20,000 per case up to $150,000. These municipalities wake up.
Too many lawsuits. That's what happens. It gets to the point where you're uninsurable. It's kind of like if you get in a lot of accidents in your car, it's the same thing. They'll say, no. You have too many accidents for us to insure you. It costs too much.
Exactly. And that's what I was saying with the lawsuits, right? Like, so has any of you seen what, and I want to know if, I think it's Ants. Is it the movie Ants, or the Disney movie Ants, where the grasshoppers, Hopper, and all that?
Ants.
Yeah, it's Ants.
Okay, so there's a perfect analogy there to the lawsuits, right? And that's when Hopper pulls out the the plug for the grain, and he throws one at the grasshopper, and he's like, boom, here's one. Did it hurt? He's like, no, that didn't hurt. And he throws a couple more at him. He's like, did that hurt? He's like, no, that shit didn't hurt at all. And then he pulls out the stopper, and then the dude gets like buried in grain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, he's like, you got to realize it's not the food that we need; it's the power. He's like, they outnumber us. If they realize the power that they actually hold, our way of life would be through. And it's the same thing with our lawsuits. 1 or 2 is not going to hurt them, right? They're going to be whatever.
20 does.
Exactly. You put 20 off, and I've always said this, right? So if an officer's going through his career, let's pick Officer Tom Harry in Chicago. And Officer Tom Harry, he stops 400 people a year. And of those 400 people every year he stops, he unlawfully identifies 200 people. If those 200 people were to sue Officer Tom Harry, the next year there wouldn't be an Officer Tom Harry, or Tom Harry would
uninsurable,
or Mr. Tom Harry wouldn't be unlawfully IDing anybody. That would be the outcome, right? But if one person sues Officer Tom Harry because the other 199 people don't know how to sue, and a lawyer's not going to take the case, and even if a lawyer would take the case, they don't have the money to pay. You know what I mean? So, I mean, now you see what we're up against, right? So that's what it is. So once we can start converting these people over into realizing, they'll talk to you a lot about what you need to survive in life, right? Water, food, stuff like that. But what they don't tell you is that in order to survive in life, you also need to learn the law of wherever you're living, right? Wherever you're at and living and working and live your life. You need to know the law there, right? Because that affects you every day of your life, every single day of your life, right? That's one of the most important things that you could possibly learn, is to understand how the law works, how these connections work, because as we know, when people don't know something, then the people that do know something will take advantage, right? It's just the way it is. You know what I mean? If you think a 2-story beach house is only worth $2,000, the guy that's buying it from you is not going to talk you out of it, right? It's not going to happen.
Sure, I'll take it.
Right. Oh no. I mean, sure, they might be like, oh, that's a little unfair. Let me give you 10,000. You know what I mean? Let me feel like I'm easing my conscience by being a good guy and giving you a little, more than you asked, right? But very rarely will be they like, no, let me give you the actual 2.3 million that it's worth, right?
Yeah, but then it would be the person that would stand there and say, "How could you do that? Why would you take advantage of him when you know that that's worth more money?" He said that's what laws are created for, that person who says, "I don't care, I don't care. I'll just do it. I don't, whatever." That's, some people don't have that mentality to to naturally say, "All right, this isn't right to do." You know what I mean? Right, and even sometimes they do know that, and they just still do it. Right, because I think within everybody there's a natural tendency to want to provide for your family, right? To provide, whether it be more or better or whatever. I think that a lot of especially here in the US, I think a lot of boys become men when they get families, right? And they realize, hey, now I've got to provide for these people, and they depend on me, or whatever. So in essence, like that. So yeah.
Well, I think that speaks a lot for what we do. Is the old saying, "Back the blue till it happens to you," and that's where a lot of people's eyes starts opening up. I know that happened for me 5-6 years ago. So that's what opened my eyes.
Right, right, and anything can open a person's eyes. There's a lot of people that don't trust the government for one reason or another, be it with the vaccination scene or um, with just whatever scene you want to come with CPS, whatever it may be. But in a lot of instances, even some of those people are diet woke, right? So, and by that I mean the fact that they understand that the government has lied to them about this,
About everything.
but right. But when you go and say, "Was it? Is it?" You don't even have to be like, "Look, they lied about this." You could be like, "Is it even possible that they lied about this?" No, no, not at all. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't really think so. I mean, I know they lied about this, So I like to tell people, or ask people, do you think it's possible that the government has lied to us, through our schooling about, what, you know, for example, the Constitution is, who it applies to, who it really benefits, and
scenarios and such, so that you can teach them.
Right, because as time goes on, history is forgotten, history is rewritten. If you look at the history books in the school today, they don't resemble anything in the history books of myself or my parents or my grandparents. Um, and so as time goes on, history gets rewritten, a little bit falls away and gets passed off, and no one remembers anymore because it hasn't been written about in the history books in 100 years.
Yeah,
So people forget about it until you
people,
get
and the people that knew about it are now gone.
right. Exactly. So there's nobody to question the validity against. Um, so um, it's I think it's important that the work we do for the amount of people that we're reaching out to, because again, waking up from years of indoctrination is not something that you do because you heard one guy say the government's corrupt, right? Or taxation is theft, right? Or
you only figure it out after you get mugged.
Right, pretty much. That's normalcy bias.
Exactly.
It's exactly right. It's what's known as normalcy bias, where we think that because something happened, it will never happen, and if it does happen, it won't be as bad as people say, right? So, and every human has normalcy bias, and the only way to counteract normalcy bias is to realize that you have normalcy bias, and when the normalcy bias is taking place. A perfect example is people in New Orleans when Katrina hit, right? People were like, "Oh, a hurricane, I don't think it's going to hit here." But even if it does, the levees will hold. At that moment in those people's lives, they should have went ding, 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 ding. Normalcy bias. Let me stop and think about this a little bit deeper. Okay, I will get on the bus out of town. Thank you.
I would have been packing everybody up. I would have been like, "All right, come on, let's go."
Right.
Nothing's gonna happen. No. Come on, let's go, just in case.
Right.
Vacation.
Just in case. The people that said just in case understood normalcy bias and they moved on with their lives. But the people that didn't understand that were 4 feet deep in water, stealing TVs that they couldn't plug in.
Yeah, I think there's two good examples in history. I think like before the Ice Age, the ones that stuck around and said, "Nah, the ice won't reach us," they died. The ones who said, "I'm getting out of here before the ice comes," lived. And also Noah's Ark. I think he
right.
When you think about it, it's the biggest one you could think of.
Right. He's looking over the horizon. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna rain."
Yep. Pack it all in.
Yep. Everybody's like, "Nah, it ain't gonna rain. Look, the sun's out."
He's crazy. Don't just let him
He's
go away.
crazy. That's right. It's a conspiracy nut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just something real quick, Ro. Do you ever think about how many people you actually reach when you make these videos? Like the chain of, like my mentality is that the chain of you doing it and somebody sees it and says, I'm going to go down there, or I'm going to do that. Or, when you see different, think about the scale of how many people see you go somewhere.
Yeah, I
or
agree
your
with
interactions.
Yeah, I really agree with that. Like,
It's
there's an
massive.
awful lot of people you've reached. Like, and I think that's one of the big things people are talking about. Oh, have you done change? Yes, you have, but also the amount of people you have reached with knowledge
Right.
is in the hundreds of thousands.
And it's a domino effect again, because just like I watched Jeff Gray and came out and did my stuff, and then like Wrights Crispy said, Wrights Crispy started watching me, and then he contacted me, and then he started coming out with me, and now he's got his own base of subscribers and his own body of work that is every bit as good as mine. And he reaches people because of me, and I reach people because of Jeff, and we all go back in that line to reinforce and to help solidify um, the one even before us, and what we wanted to accomplish as far as getting our rights out there. My biggest thing was that I wanted my girls to know their rights, and that was my goal. I said, if I do nothing else but help my girls understand their rights, because granted, they don't watch my stuff now because one of them is still too young, but, a couple of years ago, they were both too young, but they weren't ready to understand the intricacies of rights, and why I was right and why they were wrong, and whatever have you. I didn't want my kids thinking, oh, that dad's an asshole. He's going out there with a camera, and he's not even being nice and saying anything to these people. He's just being quiet.
Where's Dad? Oh, he's out walking town again.
Yeah, right. That's where Dad gets all that damn candy. But eventually they will see it, and I want that to help them in educating them on their rights, and how they can, and how they should, and how they will, because I'm their father. No, I'm just playing. But how they will do their interactions, right? Because they want to be strong in their independence as well. And it turned out to reach so many more people, that again, it blew me and my wife's mind, um, and again, it's been humbling and grateful that I've been able to do this for so many years, and people have an interest in what I do, and again, I always tell people I'm not trying to make entertaining videos. It's not what I'm trying to do at all. It helps that people find them entertaining, and sometimes I can be quirky and funny and stupid or whatever. I wear the funny glasses sometimes with the American mustache, or, the Liberty glasses, and whatever. I wear the funny shirts and the balls deep, haha, and all this other stuff. It's entertaining, haha, sure, whatever. But my main focus has always been on educating and right, and getting answers, and making sure that these guys realize that the days of yore are over as far as I'm concerned. And I'm only one guy, so I can only do so much. So,
you've done a lot.
My voice to them can only reach so far, but the hope is that other people see this. Maybe tomorrow people pick up a camera. YouTube now is probably forever. Just like anything. You know what I mean? And because of the internet, people could download this very video right here and have it on a hard drive that can be stuck in an attic and found 50 years from now. And
maybe
people
web
could,
surf.
Right.
Maybe Webster could go on there and make a whole thing and talk about. He does it where he looks at accounts that aren't active anymore. I mean, you never know. Somewhere down the line, someone might say, "Boy, I wonder what happened to this guy or that guy. He used to go out all the time with the camera." They might be rebroadcasting videos from 12 years ago.
Right. I mean, it could be a total police state then, and they could be looking. For, you know what I mean? They could be looking for information on how to, possibly, not retaliate, but to.
Oh, I'm sure they watch the videos.
Rebuild. You know what I mean? Like in the future. After all is said and done.
So they're either say to themselves, "This is a video from when we were free," or they're going to say, "Because of this video is why we're free today."
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Right on the money.
But Rogue, you said time is one of our greatest possessions. Now, I totally agree with that. But I feel so strongly and so like right deep to my core, so strong that one of my greatest possession are my rights and my freedom to exercise those rights.
Right.
I really feel strongly about that.
Then as someone who is into time management, if that's your priority, then it would be wise that you prioritize your time, and I know you do because I see you do it. You prioritize your time around activities that help further your rights. You're on the panels, you're providing support, you're providing education, you're in Discord, you're making contacts, you're getting things done. You dedicate a good percentage of your time, like me and like most of us here, to furthering our rights in whatever way possible. Whether it's we're watching a video to learn about our rights, whether we're discussing stuff in the side chat, as far as ideals or case law or thoughts on how to make sure that we can keep
this discussion.
Solidifying our rights. You know what I mean? Just like the part we brought up here, the paper we brought up from the Justice Department a little bit ago. I mean, I like the fact I want each time that I am on YouTube that there's to be some sort of learning moment, right? Some nugget of information. I don't care if it's they some guy batted 5 home runs in the game in Major League Baseball or something. But to me, there always has to be some kind of learning moment. And I tend to choose my learning moments more towards academic stuff than, what I would consider frivolous. I don't care about sports or, numbers or, Super Bowls or whatever, anything of that nature. So my teachable moments are stuff like, oh, let's read the Department of Justice report. You know what I mean? Like, I highly doubt that most people are like, oh, I got a little bit of free time. What should I read? Oh, I know. Let me go look for a dry 300-page Department of Justice report that nobody, not even the Department of Justice, has read.
Yeah. What did you do today? Well, I sat at the beach and I read an EPA manual.
Yes, yeah, and yeah, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. So it is what it is.
Rogue, who's Kim Kardashian dating at the moment? I don't know, but did you know that in the Phoenix Police Department, their policy number 8A states?
Did you know that you can't walk 10 feet past the bus line?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, well, you got to know your strengths too, like, because your strengths and weaknesses. Like, I would love to be able to audit, but I just get very emotional.
I wouldn't be able to do
I'm not able to it. So, but I do see what can I do. I look for what can I do. Like you said, Rogue. I think a lot of us do that, and I see my role in this movement would be more of a support role to back people who can do audits, like yourself. to support you, to like your videos, to leave a comment in your videos, to support you on your Facebook page, which is awesome as well. You know, just because you can't do one thing or the other, you can do other things. Find your strength and weaknesses is basically what I'm trying to say to people. You know,
Right, and realize that you have weaknesses, right? So like
yeah,
there's a saying that I like to say, and I'm not sure where I heard it from, or if it was from somebody famous or whatever have you not, but the saying goes that the person who knows everything knows nothing, and the person that knows nothing knows everything.
that's right.
And to me, the meaning of that means that a person who thinks they know everything is blinded sometimes to the things they need to know, because some of the things they think they know is actually false, right? And even though it's false, they believe it, so they're blinded to the actual truth. Whereas a person that doesn't believe, or excuse me, doesn't know anything, doesn't have those preconceptions, right? Because they realize, oh shit, I don't know nothing about this. Let me go find the information, right? Because humans are naturally curious creatures, right? And so when we don't know something, we tend to go and look to find out what the answer is. But if, on the other hand, we think we know the answer, even if the answer is wrong, we still won't go and search for that answer unless we realize it's wrong.
Right.
It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Right. Absolutely. So, as long as you realize that, your weakness, right? Like a lot of trolls tried to get on me and goad me and be like, oh, well, Rogue, well, you handled your case pro se in Georgia up until the trial. And then, and then you got a lawyer. And I said, yeah, because I absolutely understand where my weaknesses are. And I know that I need somebody to step in and handle this part, to make sure that when it goes to an appeal, I actually have a chance to win. I'm not going to let my ego, for being like, oh, I've read the law, so I know all there is to know. So I'm just going to run in and do this, and to damn what my chances later,
Yeah.
So
I couldn't do auditing.
That's
because
good thinking right there. That's proper good mind work.
I couldn't do auditing. It just watching the videos sometimes gets my Irish up.
Yeah,
So
me too. you know.
Yeah.
I'm often shouting at the screen things,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and and it's funny you say that, because the worst parts of when I become the bigger asshole is at the end of the day, when I've already been to like 15 places and I've already heard 20 stupid excuses why I can't record, and you know what I mean, and had to deal with 5 other cops, from 4 other police departments, and I'm like, you know what, you guys are just idiots.
It's the 8th hand I've had in front of my face today.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like I'm often screaming at the screen is, the police aren't your personal security guards or your personal army where you can just ring them and they're going to come and do your bidding. They also have to obey the law, like everybody else.
Hey, at some places they will, man. Walmart has their own private parking spaces right up front.
Yeah, in front with a blue light on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Got them.
Yep, that's their private security now. So when people steal, they just, or think they even steal, they call them up. Or, I did a story a while back on Tony from down here in Florida. He was the Asian gentleman, and they thought he was somebody else, and that had been trespassed, and they ended up arresting him. And now he's got a big lawsuit against Walmart and the police. And I told him, I said, dude, sue Walmart and the police. Dude, you got a big ass lawsuit right here.
They're the ones that started it.
Yep. They're the ones that said he was, this criminal, and all this other stuff. So
Sometimes I'll watch them and a family member, I'll get disgusted and be like, all right, I'll shut this off. I'll watch these other ones later. I'm already pissed off, and I'll walk out on the other side of the house and somebody say to me, "Who the hell are you talking to?" See, I'm yelling at the screen because I'm watching this, saying, "Wait a minute, you can't do that's." I couldn't do it, but like I said, I think about it in a manner like you guys put yourself on the line every day. You go out and deal with the hands in the face and deal with the monotony of hearing the same thing 60 times, how you're violating HIPAA and you can't have a camera here or women people freaking out in front of you in lines or start, and I think, man, those guys just the scope. That's what I was saying earlier. Just the scope of it, how much you have to deal with and do it and still educate and, opening people's eyes at the same time. And I think, man, that's why I put this on. I wanted to come on and just thank you guys. I normally would never do the voice thing, but I wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you.
Oh, that's very cool of you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, we appreciate it, man. I when I do my open panels, I let everybody know that everybody's welcome. It doesn't matter, friend, foe, troll. It doesn't matter. Everybody's welcome. Because in reality, everybody has something to teach everybody. You know what I mean? Like everybody has something to teach if we only take a minute and listen and learn, right? It doesn't matter if you like the person or not. If you just take a moment and listen to people, sometimes you can learn something from them, and sometimes you can't, and
Absolutely.
sometimes people are idiots and sometimes they're not. But I think it's wise that what was the old saying that you got 2 ears and 1 mouth? You should listen more and talk less.
I like that one.
The same thing with the eyes. You got 2 eyes to read. So, I feel reading is a huge thing that even for people in my generation, it's been hard for them to grasp, besides.
I don't think it's really told a lot these days either. I don't think they teach kids a lot in school now. The things that we learned in school, think times have changed greatly.
Yeah, you can Google everything. Like when we were a kid, if you didn't know something, you just didn't know it. Like, you know what I mean? You can't Google it like Siri.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
What side of a tree does moss grow?
What do you mean, Uncle? You had to walk 3 miles. It's like, well, yeah, I had to go to the other side of town to the library and learn it. I didn't have a supercomputer in my hand that could decode the Enigma machine.
Right, yeah. What you had to do was identify which book the information was most likely to be in, and then you would have to go to the library, use the Dewey Decimal System.
The microfiche.
Yeah.
Pull up the little screen and put the little negative slider in there and move it around on the black and white screen.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays you can YouTube search anything. Like,
oh yeah,
I learned how to do concrete slabs and stuff from YouTube. And I don't think I did load in my garden, and I did pretty good.
Yeah.
Invalid request that said something funny, and I just wanted to back up the statement that even though they have the parking spots there, they still park right out in front on the
the fire lane.
Right, the no parking fire lane. Yeah, just and you're thinking to yourself, is this stupidity real? Like,
I've seen it.
You know what I mean? Like,
I've seen them do it in front of the hospital.
Oh, there might be a call. Oh man, I can't imagine a call that it's going to be a split second from the time you walk 5 feet from here to there. That there could be.
Yeah, why don't they just put the spot right in the store? Why don't you just be able to drive right through the store with it? Then?
Right. Yeah, they've got big enough doors. I mean, they should just pull right in,
What is it? Rules for me, but not for D? What is that saying?
Yeah, they could pull right in, and then when they get a call, they could speed out, and they could hit customers on their way in.
Oh, yeah, they should have got
paperwork.
Yeah, it'd be like a bowling alley.
A drive-through for the blue.
That's right.
Yeah. There you go, like Death Race 2000, where you're sacrificing your life for the betterment of society.
Yeah, rolling out all the people in the wheelchairs out on the road. 40 points.
Yeah,
blue till they drive over you.
exactly. Back in the blue, let them drive over you.
That's it. Do you know that saying? It takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
Maybe it takes a community to change our legal system.
Oh, it definitely does.
Sure.
Because they're fighting the change, because they don't want to change, because
they have it good. That's why.
Have to really
right,
work.
right. Yeah, I mean, the grift is so damn good that they don't want it to change, and that's why when people get too close to finding out something that's going to be explosive, there's airplane failure, or a brake failure, or a mugging while jogging through the woods, or
the John Rambo moment.
Right. I mean, you've seen all the headlines before, like JFK Jr. You've seen the headline for him. You've seen the headlines for senators that have gone down in plane crashes and mysterious circumstances and what have you not. And I told someone there was a gentleman that was doing a documentary. Just the guy wasn't he wasn't Michael Moore or anybody of that nature. Just some guy, but his home was broken into. His whole family was killed.
Yeah.
So
step a little too close to the fire.
Yeah.
And one thing about that community, one thing I noticed with this Elk County thing that I'm working on now is a lot of people were afraid to come out and say anything. But as I get 2-3 videos out, I'm getting more and more emails of people no longer afraid to speak up anymore. They're starting to come out and speak out.
Right.
Which is amazing.
Right, because once they realize that someone's actually out there that will listen, that cares, that will stand up, it does give people more gumption. It really does. Like, it's different to see somebody like, out in California doing it. You know what I mean? But when you're talking about, Kansas, Iowa, the bread states, the flyover states, the less populated areas where it's more rural, and people know each other, and stuff like
Small
this.
towns.
Right. I mean, it's easy to become an outcast in places like this. So you run around challenging Bubba Joe, who is cousins of
Half
half
the town is his relatives.
right. Then
They're in every office.
right, then you're quickly to become a pariah. You're quickly to be cast out and cast upon, which doesn't really suit a lot of people. But if they see other people doing it, then they're like, okay, now I know it's safe for me to do it. Because
It's
other
not one
people are
ant,
doing
now
it.
it's 10.
Right.
Yeah, domino effect.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yep. So and I'm sure if you ask any auditor, they'll tell you the same thing. But you're exactly right. That's the same thing that happened to me every time. Because once I was finished in Florida, I would go to some other states, and like, for example, Alabama didn't have at the time, I don't think, any auditors, or if they had one, it was only one. But some of these places had never been audited.
Yeah.
And like, for example, I talked to a gentleman tonight, a gentleman by the name of George, from Dothan, Alabama. I did a story on him, so years ago, so people might remember who he is. But he's getting ready to sue the county of Houston there in Alabama, because they haven't let him go to county commission member meetings for like the past 2 years, right? So they're restricting his right to free speech and to redress the government there. But and he's got a lawyer, and they're doing all the appropriate steps and everything like that. But he called me today, and he said, George, he said, I don't want you to think that your trip to Dothan was in vain. He goes, it might be slow. He goes, but we're seeing progress. And I told him, I said, you know, even before I had started my lawsuits, they had already trained their officers, right? Because when I went to Dothan that day, we had 5 videos that came out that all were bangers. Like that, they just went up
I
in
remember when you guys
views.
were there.
Right, and everybody loved them, and loved the videos, hated the you know actions by the officers. They called, they made a big fuss about it, and even before I initiated my lawsuits, the city um, had already trained their officers about us and our activities. And so every time after that, I went back to Dothan. I never had a problem ever again in Dothan with an officer. Now other people did. Jeff Gray had a problem with the that one canine officer Fisher that one time, and certain stuff like that. But every time I've been back there, I've never had a problem again with Dothan PD. Um,
They took
and
your videos and probably played them for him in the morning and said, "Watch this."
right, and like I said, that was even before I'd started my lawsuits. So, um, but so it definitely stuff's getting done. But listen, guys, it's getting late. Svengoolie is definitely tired, so I'm gonna get out of here.
Well, have a good
No
one, man.
problem.
It was
I
good.
just appreciate you having us on here.
Just before you go, I just want to say something that I found. I find it another powerful tool for us. Right now, it's great that we ring up and we air our grievances to the government, but also, which is equally as powerful, right, is to ring up and congratulate the good ones.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I've done that twice so far for a lady on an Erie County video. She was brilliant. Rang her up, thanked her, told her I saw her from Ireland. She was over the moon that somebody from Ireland was ringing her and thanking her. And another one for I Am Free. She was really good. She was a post office employee and really respected the rights of the people. I rang her up and thanked her and told her I'm ringing from Ireland, and she was also very happy with that. So you don't always have to just call and give out about the bad ones, but big up the good ones.
Absolutely.
Doing the right thing.
You praise the good and you expose the
Right.
bad.
That's
right,
it.
because that will help reinforce them when their office coworkers are like, well, those guys are assholes, and they're like,
Yeah.
well, I don't think they was so bad. He was just recording, he asked me a few questions. I mean, it wasn't nothing really. You know what I mean? Otherwise, they might be like, yeah, fuck that guy. They called up here and called me a bitch, or
They
or
make up a
whatever.
lot. They make
Right.
up a lot of stuff too, and and say, "Oh, people called us and they were rude." And they make
Oh,
stuff up.
they do that all the time. I mean, literally nobody. You wouldn't even put in a phone number in the video, and they'd be like, "Oh, we got thousands of calls. They were threatening my life."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just to cry it up like little bitches.
People
All right.
are watching. That's
Yep.
it. That's the message. People are watching. How are you going to act?
Exactly. It's just like Robert De Niro in Meet the Fockers. He's pointing at his eyes. I'm watching you, Focker. I'm watching you, Focker.
We're watching them fuckers.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, guys. Thanks for coming. Always a pleasure.
Nice
Yeah,
talking
thanks
to
for having us
everybody.
up, bro.
Thank you,
Nice to
Major.
meet you guys.
Yep.
See you later. Have a good one.
Peace out.